everybody, David from Flash by Vcyclenut here. Next system up for testing on my 2024 MT09 is the Black Widow system. One of the less expensive systems out there. Very popular system, that's why I decided to get it, even though I'm not a dealer for them and paid full price, but value-wise, a pretty decently priced system. I went with the, I think it was 340 millimeter longer can, just to make it a little more quiet. I know from testing different configuration systems over the years on multiple different platforms with multiple different exhausts, that different configurations aren't, different canister lengths and stuff, is not going to change the performance or the fueling requirements. It just changes the sound a little bit. So, not pretty decent kit. The instructions, they emailed them to me, and so I was able to look at them online. The tubes are numbered, which is nice because a lot of systems don't. Included new gaskets if you feel that you need them. Has the O2 extender. Has a bunk for a wideband, and it came with an adapter if we want to make it for the stock O2 sensor. Also included some assembly paste, which is nice. But it came with this. This is some barbaric 1980s exhaust torture device. Putting this rubber thing on these clamps. I always hate it. Can't stand it. And the canister is held on by a clamp. Hate it. Can't stand it. But so not too bad. We'll get it mounted up. In the instructions, as always, it said mount the header first, then to mount the mid pipe or the collector and bolt the mid pipe up, and then tighten from the back of the bike forward. That's true of all exhausts. So I'll get it bolted up. If I run into any issues, then I will call them out, and I'll do my normal street tuning and dyno testing and tuning with it and get you some numbers. I'm in the process of installing the Black Widow, and just like all systems, when I install, I remove both upper radiator mounts, pull it off the lower bracket, loosen the bracket so it has some room. I mounted the center pipe first because it just gives you that easier access, then the one on the left, then the one on the right, and they slid pretty easily on the collector. I did use the assembly paste that they gave. Why not? They gave it to me. And then this bolt's ready to bolt on up, so I'm going to belt that on loose, put the bracket on for the canister. You get everything mounted loose, and then tighten from the back of the bike forward. The Black Widow was all mounted up. I did have to do a little bit of fabrication. I wouldn't even call it fabrication. So on the 21 through 23 MT09, the rear passenger pegs bolt on with bolts that go this direction. Now they go up. So the bracket that was made for the high mount is for the 21 or 23. So literally I just took a bracket, 90-degree bracket I had, put a bolt through the passenger peg instead of a pin, bolted the 90-degree bracket on, and bolted it to that. And it's super sturdy, and I think it looks the way they designed. It kind of matches the angle of the bike, a little off. And so I've wiped it all down with alcohol, and I'm going to do the first start with it. I got the DB killer out. Sounds pretty good, so we'll go from there. Got the wideband all in it to do my road testing, and then we'll get it up on the dyno. Sitting on my 24 MT09, you can see it. I've put about 150 miles on it, somewhere around there since the last time we spoke. A lot of fun riding. Been doing the Black Widow high mount tuning, and really it was dialed in pretty quickly, but just enjoying riding the bike, so I put some miles on it. And so I wanted the guys to be able to hear it while on the bike, because that sounds different than when you're on the side of the bike. Really a nice sounding exhaust. Got my full review with numbers and all that shit ready to come at you. So as always, let's start with what my bike made stock. And it was 107.8 horsepower and 64.8 foot-pounds of torque.
So if you're one of those perverse people that likes to bolt exhaust systems up with no tuning, this is what you get. You get no area where you lost any power. You actually gain about 4.5 horsepower and about 1.5 foot-pounds of torque. And bike ran decent with the stock ECU when riding it. Nothing really screamed out that it was horrible, but much improved after the flash, of course. So then if you do the right thing and you have me flash the ECU, you can see we jumped way up to 116.7 horsepower and 69.2 foot-pounds of torque. Really nice shape curve, just looked good, run so much better on the road. Really ran well. I really enjoyed this exhaust. The tone is pleasant, loud enough, but not too loud. The longer can keeps it reasonable. High mounts always have a different sound to the rider because the canister's kind of up in your right ear. I just really enjoyed the exhaust. It really is a good running exhaust and sounds really sweet. So let's look what you're leaving on the table if you do not get your ECU flashed and bolt this exhaust up. You're leaving almost 5 horsepower, 3 foot-pounds of torque, and again, like I said, all that better running. Kind of crazy, but I know some of you will do it. Don't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. And when we go back and compare where we are now to the stock bike, you can see the gas gains are pretty massive, like 9 horsepower, 5 foot-pounds of torque, better area under the curve, and just better. It's just better, I say. And then I did a couple pulls with the DB killer in, and you can see when I posted the numbers earlier, it really didn't make much difference in sound, but it did unfortunately cost us a few horsepower and a couple foot-pounds of torque. For me, I found with the longer can that the DB killer is definitely not needed. I didn't in any way find it too loud, but you may, and if so, this is what you are giving up. And lastly, if we compare it to the Akrapovic, it compares pretty favorable. I mean, I'll call them a wash. I mean, there's a couple little areas with this and that, but you have some variation between runs. This is performs basically as well as the Akrapovic for a fraction of the price. It is heavier than the Akrapovic, and I don't know how well it'll hold up over years, depending on how you use it. But really good value. Like I said it a bunch of times. Really, I do like the exhaust. So thanks, guys, for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe and like button for more motorcycle-related content. Keep the dirty side down and have a great time riding. Be safe.